As a lot of you may already be aware of, last week we had rumors about Resident Evil 0 Remake being a potentially timed exclusive for the at long last unveiled Switch 2. Also a small update on Resident Evil 9, Resident Evil movie reboot news, and a few other things that I'd like to add so that this video isn't redundant for those who already know those things. But if you aren't aware of that news, here we go. Resident Evil 0's remake news has been swirling around for some time. Then last week, the Switch 2 unveiled its existence. The news centered around Resident Evil 0 specifically was that it may be a timed exclusive for the Nintendo Switch 2. Not necessarily a launch title for it. This does make sense as the original Resident Evil 0 was done similarly with Nintendo, being exclusive with the Nintendo GameCube until its remastered iteration was ported to damn near everything. Perhaps there's a license deal in place between Capcom and Nintendo, even though it would be a slightly irritating thing for anyone that won't be switching to a Switch 2. Whether it's actually a timed exclusive or not, we'll find out sooner or later. Switching over to Resident Evil 9 news, you know how I hate leakers, as they are unreliable and typically full of guessing games. Well, this one backtracks information about Jill being a playable character for Resident Evil 9.
You shitting me?
The only thing I'll say about the information presented is that it's a real shame if Leon is the sole playable character, as Resident Evil 1 and 2 remakes have so much more value having a two-character system. Even Resident Evil 4's remake DLC with Ada provided extra value. This would be a huge bummer for all if indeed true. Moving on. See what I did there? Seems like we're looking at rebooting the franchise once again. Barbarian director Zach Kreger has been in talks to helm this new film for the franchise. In his words, it would be more horror-focused and more faithful to the initial games. Not necessarily insinuating Resident Evil 1 in that statement. Could we get, instead, Resident Evil 0 perhaps? Maybe a spin-off adjacent story set within that time frame? I do think it's wild we have yet to see a horror film set solely in the mansion of Resident Evil 1. It's the most obvious thing in the world, and yet the closest thing is still Sweet Home, a film from 1989. Not to be confused with the one on Netflix that has no relation. A quick tidbit of additional info, Resident Evil 6 is getting a re-release on current gen consoles, potentially being a remaster. Not a remake, a remaster. Very slight changes, most of you won't even bat an eye at this news. Currently, we believe Resident Evil 0 Remake, Code Veronica's remake, and of course Resident Evil 9 are on the horizon, with Resident Evil 9 and Resident Evil 0 Remake getting the most attention for being the most likely to be up next to release. You know the sword I die on saying Resident Evil 1 Remake version 2 isn't off the table for the anniversary, but I might be the only one still trying to will that into existence. Add in how much non-Resident Evil related content mentioned at the Game Awards last month, and you gotta wonder just how many resources are left to make multiple Resident Evil games at once. And by that I mean we're probably not getting as many as we think we are. What are your thoughts on any of this news? It looks like we'll continue living in this abyss of no confirmed info from Capcom for a while longer. Until then, have a great day anyways. I'll see you next time on Hittobox's House of Horrors. Just kidding about that last part. Peace out.